Okay, well, I'm going to use this video just to go over the worksheet, the first worksheet, just to make sure that you're all on the right page. We're going to go through some of the questions, just all throughout the worksheet, making sure that you guys know how to do them. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Um, and what I'm going to say is right here, let's go to, first of all, Unit 2 probability. um, and download the Nerf Blaster Unit 1 2-1-1 worksheet. And then you're also, if you haven't, if you didn't cover this video in class, you might want to watch it, or then this one as well. This is covering the information at the end of the worksheet. So these are the two videos that cover that, and then this one right here is a really good video that literally brings you through the majority of everything, especially on Excel. And so just as you go throughout here, it covers all of the 2-1-1 and 2-1-2 stuff in Excel, as well as a quick overview of some of the Word stuff. But this is going to be just over 2-1-1 Word worksheet. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. I'm going to download it. And let's open it. And we're going to enable editing. Okay. And so we've got all these wonderful definitions right up at the front. Um, and then coming down right here, you've got some questions on probability of rolling a die with 6 sides. So the question is this classical, is it empirical, or is it subjective? And the video specifically on classical, empirical, and subjective is right here. It's the cards. It's what we did in class the other day. So just be aware of that. And so coming through these, just label all of these as classical, empirical, or subjective. And then right here, come up with an example of your own, which if you're going to put an example of your own in here, you should also probably open up the Unit 2 Excel workbook. And then you can go ahead and put your example under vocab for classical. Let's see here. Hmm. Oh, yeah, classical, empirical, and subjective. And so you can come right over here on the right-hand side and put in classical, empirical, and subjective as that. And then coming down here, label the following as mutually exclusive, independent, dependent, collectively exhaustive. Then once again, come up with your own example. And then I would once again suggest you copy and paste this example into that Excel workbook, because you guys will be turning that in as a group at the end. Now, this is the part that a lot of you guys are going to struggle with, and that's why I wanted to just do this video really quick to show you the best way about doing this. Okay, so calculate the following. First of all, imagine, if you will, that you have a Nerf gun. And I probably should have brought one of my Nerf guns in here, but I didn't. Um, and so I don't think that I have one. No. Okay, but I've got this fun little Nerf ball, and with this Nerf ball, imagine that I have two hula hoops, and I'm holding up two hula hoops, and with these two hula hoops, and I'm going to make a visual right here. Insert image shapes. Okay, and so I've got a circle right there. Oh, and shape fill, no fill. Wait. Okay. Okay. And so I've got two hula hoops that I am filling up, or that I'm holding up, and a dart that I shoot with a Nerf gun can either go through, and I'm going to do insert text box, hoop A, shape fill, no fill, line. There we go. Hoop A. hoop B, and then this one in the middle would be Control V, A, and B. Whoops. And let's just make that smaller. Okay, so first of all, we've got the probability of somebody shooting a dart through hoop A. We're labeling that as 0.3. And then the probability of an individual shooting a dart through hoop B is going to be 0.4. So we're going to put 0.4 right here. Um, and then coming down here, we're saying A and B are mutually exclusive. Well, that's really good information to know. If they are mutually exclusive, what does that mean? It means that they cannot happen at the same time. Okay, so that means that the probability of A is 0.3, the probability of B is 0.4. Mutually exclusive means that they cannot happen at the same time. Okay, so we have the probability of not A. Okay, and so the probability of not A is essentially, okay, the probability of A is 0.3, so the probability of not A is going to be 1 minus 0.3, and so it's going to be 0.7. And then you have a union, and if you pull up your formula sheet, let's go ahead and pull up our formula sheet. Let's go to here and go to, let's see here, printable resources, unit 2 formula sheet. Okay, we've got intersection, we've got unions, and we've got the complement rule. That's what we just did, is the complement rule right there. But so we've got the intersection and the union right here. The union right here is going to say the probability of uh, A or B is going to be the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A and B. Well, first of all, looking at this, because they're mutually exclusive, um, they can't happen at the same time. Okay, so if they can't happen at the same time, then it's going to be the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A and B. Um, and so right there is the probability of A or B. Okay, so we've got the probability of A or B is going to be 0.3 plus 0.4 minus the probability of A and B together, which is 0. So the total is going to be 0.3 plus 0.4, which equals 0.7. Okay. Um, and then also intersection, what's the probability of A and B? Well, is there a probability of them being shot, somebody shooting it and it going through both? And the answer is no. And so the answer is 0. Okay. So calculate the following. There are 40 students, 28 students prefer Nerf, 12 prefer Adventure Force blasters. If you randomly choose 2 students, answer the following probability. Adventure Force is the Walmart brand, which is actually really good for the majority of them. There's a few that are not that great, but Adventure Force blasters, some people prefer those over Nerf. Okay, so the probability of event A. So we've got this notation, and it's the probability of A sub 1. In other words, the first person to pick a Nerf, or the first person to pick is going to choose a Nerf gun, and so a Nerf blaster. So there's 40 students, 28 prefer Nerf, 12 prefer Adventure Force. Okay, so what's the probability that the first person is going to pick Nerf? And so that's going to be 28 divided by 40. And then if you work that out, give me the actual decimal for that. And then probability of B sub 1, in other words, once again, the first person prefers an Adventure Force blaster. And so there's 12 people that prefer an Adventure Force blaster. And if it's the first person, then it's going to be 12 divided by 40. And then you give me the actual probability, work that out and give me the probability for that. Now, this one right here, very specifically, it says, what's the probability of the second person, and this is what's called conditional probability. Conditional probability. What's the probability of the second person picking or preferring uh, an adventure force blaster, assuming if the first person chose a Nerf blaster? So what you do right here is you do 12 divided by um how many ever are left after, so there's 12 left, so 12 divided by 39. So the reason why is because the first person chose an adventure force blaster, or sorry, the first person chose a Nerf blaster, so there's only 39 people left, and so there's still 12 people that prefer a an adventure force, so it's 12 divided by 39, and so that's conditional probability. Okay. And then right here we have joint probability. What's the probability of the first person choosing a Nerf blaster and the second person choosing a uh, Adventure Force blaster, given that the first person chose a Nerf blaster? So first of all, you say, what's the probability of the first person choosing a Nerf blaster? And so that's going to be 28 divided by 40. And then it's going to be multiplied by 12 divided by 39. And the reason why is because you've got the conditional probability. Now there's one less person. And so you've got 28 divided by 40 multiplied by 12 divided by 39. Now, if I said, what's the probability of the first two people having Nerf, preferring Nerf, then it would be 28 divided by 40 multiplied by 27 divided by 39. Then once again, coming right down here, what is the probability of the first person not choosing a Nerf gun? And so the probability of a first person not choosing the Nerf gun is 1 minus the probability of them choosing the Nerf gun. So that's going to be 28 divided by 40. So 1 minus 28 divided by 40. Then also the same thing here, the complement rule. What's the probability of them not choosing the Adventure Force? So it's going to be 1 minus the probability of them choosing the Adventure Force, which is going to be 12 divided by 40. What rule did you use to calculate E and F? And that rule is, once again, the complement rule. Okay. And then are events A and event B, are they independent or dependent? And why? So if they're independent, it means that the probability of event B is not dependent on event A. But if event A occurs, then does it change the probability of event B? Well, if event A does occur, it does change the probability of event B. So the events are dependent. And so that's how you do that. Um, and so yeah, there's much more on this part in the other video that I showed you. So just be aware of that. Other than that, I think that's so yeah, the other video that has it is, if you go, here we go. Um if you go to this right here, it's got even more information on the earlier questions in the worksheet. So, but yeah, just this for right now, and then we will pick up with principles of counting on Monday.